In your heart of hearts, when you think about what the United States just did, I think there are very few Americans right now who have any idea why the United States did this.
I think everyone has a pretty clear idea of why we did this.
If this was about drug trafficking, then why did President Trump just pardon the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of sending hundreds of tons of drugs into the United States? If this was about something about the illegitimacy of Maduro's election, well, that's something that the U.S. is, decrying any other country policing. We just sanctioned Brazil for having tried to protect itself from a coup by its former president, Jair Bolsonaro. I mean, if it's about gangs, we had the president of El Salvador, who is believed by U.S. law enforcement to be very linked with the notorious gang MS-13, which has caused incredible damage in the hemisphere, including in the United States. He's invited into the Oval Office, and the president says that he's looking forward to sending homegrown Americans to that president's essentially, jungle concentration camps. So all of the purported explanations for what's happened here don't stand up to logical scrutiny.
Notice how she built up a case there, and it sounds like a strong, reasonable argument. This is called Gish Gallop, which is to give a quick list of examples without examination. And the way the audience interprets this is, oh my gosh, there are so many examples, so the person in question must be wrong. But this only works if you don't stop to examine any of the examples she provided. So let's take a look at each one.
If this was about drug trafficking, then why did President Trump just pardon the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of sending hundreds of tons of drugs into the United States?
The former president of Honduras is Juan Hernandez, who just hours after his term was over in February 2022 was extradited to the United States by the opposition party that won. Now, under the Biden administration, he was convicted of importing over 400 tons of cocaine to the U.S., as well as being involved in the drug cartel, so he was sentenced to 45 years in prison. But here's what you don't get from the mainstream media. Hernandez is from the Conservative National Party of Honduras, and the next administration was a leftist party called Libre. Now, the Libre administration has been so incredibly disliked due to corruption, so things like the president gave high-ranking positions to her family members, they passed an amnesty law to protect themselves from legal accountability, but also the economy did horrible and they diverted funds from social public programs to the politicians themselves. So Honduras just held a new election where the Libre Party got destroyed and the National Party is being put back in place. But what really matters in the context of Hernandez is that there was a secret video recording from 2013 that was recently released, and it shows the Secretary of Congress and, of course, the current president's brother-in-law discuss massive campaign donations from well-known drug traffickers to the Libre Party. So if you take the fact that the opposition to Hernandez took campaign donations from the drug cartels and then extradited him to the United States, then add the fact that Hernandez's conviction heavily relied on key witness testimony by convicted drug traffickers, including the leader of the cartel that paid the Libre Party, this very well starts to look like a setup.
If this was about something about the illegitimacy of Maduro's election, well, that's something that the U.S. is, decrying any other country policing. We just sanctioned Brazil for having tried to protect itself from a coup by its former president, Jair Bolsonaro.
So this example could have been seen as more rational wherever you fall on the lawfare thing against Bolsonaro, but what's being left out is, while the Bolsonaro thing is in the sanction is heavily focused on Brazil's use of the law to censor Americans on social media. So they'll freeze assets of U.S. citizens, debank them, raid homes, issue fines, and even arrest them if their social media accounts criticize the Brazilian government. Even if those criticisms were made when a citizen was in the U.S., if they then go to Brazil, they could face any of these legal issues.
I mean, if it's about gangs, we had the president of El Salvador, who is believed by U.S. law enforcement to be very linked with the notorious gang MS-13, which has caused incredible damage in the hemisphere, including in the United States.
I mean, I don't know how she could even say that with a straight face. Nayib Bukele of El Salvador created mega prisons and rounded up everyone from MS-13. He then made high production videos for the whole world to see just to humiliate them. Then he made more videos where he had these MS-13 members led around and they were forced to destroy anything they could find with an MS-13 logo in an attempt to erase their identity completely. In fact, this claim is so verifiably false that you really couldn't rely on anything else she's going to say. Now that we've gone through each claim one thing at a time, does it come off a bit different? This is how Gish Gallop works. If you list examples in quick succession, people don't even have time to think about what's been said. They simply accept the premise. So if you're talking with someone and they pull this trick on you, just slow things down, examine each example one thing at a time, and you'll notice that most people don't have any evidence or thought behind the examples they give. They're just relying on the list itself to make the point. So if you like learning about media literacy like this, subscribe to this channel, and as always, thanks for watching.